Now, preview time. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
going on, everybody? Welcome to another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews, exclusively here as always on the Casa D18 Studios channel. I, of course, am your host, the Renegade JJ Williams, and I hope you enjoyed our review of The Magician's Elephant, which was last week's new release Saturday feature, pushed back a week because of WrestleMania and Stand and Deliver. But for now, we're going to get into this week's new release Saturday feature, Shazam, Fury of the Gods, starring Zachary Levi, Asher Angel, Jack Dylan Grazer, Rachel Zegler, Grace Caroline Curry, Megan Good, Faith Herman, Lucy Liu, Helen Mirren, Digimon Ansu, Marta Milans, Cooper Andrews, and Gal Gadot. What's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining me here once again for another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews. As I said in the introduction, this is the second half of our double feature today. We just got done taking a look at The Magician's Elephant, and now we're going to take a look at Shazam, Fury of the Gods. And our movie takes place 2 years after Thaddeus Sivana's defeat, as Hespera and Calypso, two of the daughters of the Titan Atlas, break into the Acropolis Museum in Athens, Greece, in order to steal the wizard's broken staff. The two then take it to the wizard, who is imprisoned in the god's realm, and they force him to repair the staff, thereby activating its powers. Back in Philadelphia, Billy Batson and his Shazamly of foster siblings save people on the collapsing Benjamin Franklin Bridge, but they are called out for its destruction. The group is drifting apart back at home due to them growing up and having personal interests. Billy is also worried about being kicked out of the Vasquez family after he ages out of the foster system. In a dream, Billy is warned by the wizard about the daughters of Atlas, prompting the Shazamly to begin researching them. Meanwhile, Freddie Freeman, who is still being bullied at school, falls for a new girl named Anne, to whom he shows off his superhero self. However, Hespera and Calypso arrive with the staff and steal Freddie's powers. Anne is then revealed to be their youngest sister, Anthea. Billy and the Shazamly attempt to save Freddie, but the daughters kidnap him and place an indestructible dome around the city, trapping everybody inside. Freddie is then imprisoned along with the wizard in the god's realm, while the daughters reveal that they want revenge because the wizard killed their father. Meanwhile, the Shazamly enter the Rock of Eternity, where they encounter a sentient pen named Steve, which they use to draft a letter to Hespera as a negotiation for Freddie's release. Billy meets with Hespera, and while the meeting is initially cordial, she and Calypso soon fight against the Shazamly. Pedro loses his powers during the fight, while Hespera is captured and taken to the rock. Hespera easily breaks out and steals the golden apple, which is the seed of the tree of life. Meanwhile, Freddie and the wizard attempt to escape the god's realm with the sympathetic Anthea's help, just as Hespera returns with the apple. Now, the daughters argue as Hespera and Anthea want to use the apple to revive their realm, while Calypso wishes to plant it on Earth in order to destroy it. Billy and the Shazamly show up, and Freddie is able to reacquire his powers. Billy and the Shazamly emerge with the wizard in the Vasquez home, where they are forced to reveal their secret identities to their foster parents. Calypso then appears with a dragon named Ladin, looking to acquire the apple. All but Billy lose their powers in the skirmish, while Calypso retrieves the apple and uses it to plant the tree at the Citizens Bank Park, which spawns monsters to attack the city. Hespera and Anthea object to their sister's destructive plan, but Calypso mortally wounds Hespera and depowers Anthea. Billy, in despair, asks the wizard to take back his powers, but the wizard assures him that he is the true hero. Heeding the wizard's words, Billy transforms and flies off to stop Calypso, while the Shazam enlist the help of unicorns in order to fend off the other monsters. Meanwhile, Billy persuades a dying Hespera to help him stop Calypso. Realizing that the dome reacts violently to his lightning, Billy lures Calypso to the park, while Hespera shrinks the dome to only contain them. Billy fights Calypso and Layden before killing them both and overloading the staff with electricity, destroying the tree and Calypso's army with them at the cost of his own life. Hespera acknowledges Billy as a true god before succumbing to her own wounds. Anthea then brings Billy and his grieving family to the god's realm for his burial, while Diana Prince, the last living being with godly powers, appears and repairs the staff. She then uses it to revive the god's realm, Anthea's powers, and to resurrect Billy. In turn, Billy uses the staff to restore his siblings' powers. The Shazamly then fixes their home, while Anthea and the wizard take up residence on Earth. In our mid-credits scene, Amelia Harcourt and John Economist attempt to recruit Billy into the Justice Society on behalf of Amanda Waller. And in our post-credits scene, a still incarcerated Thaddeus Silvana encounters Mr. Mind once again, infuriated that he hasn't begun enacting their plan yet. I don't know how many of you remember my initial Shazam review that I did. I want to say it was 2 years ago now, when I did my entire month of DC movies. I wasn't the biggest fan of the first Shazam. Thought it was really corny. And while some of the cheesiness was definitely still there in this one, I definitely preferred this to the original. I don't know. Maybe part of it was the fact that the character of Mary, one of Barry's older siblings, didn't have a kid and adult counterpart. It was the same girl both ways. I can kind of understand why a young teenage kid would need an adult body to Shazam into. Kind of get that. But Mary has already kind of aged out of the foster system, but she's still allowed to stay at the Vasquez home because she contributes, she works, she pays some rent, she helps with bills, etc. So she's already grown, essentially. So for her to be both the child version, lack of a better term, and the Shazam version of her character makes sense. The other kids are still underage, so they need an adult form. Okay, I can get behind that now. I think that was one of the things that really kind of threw me off last time, because it was always one of my things with the Turbo Power Rangers was that they had like a 10, 11-year-old kid that was the Blue Ranger that when he shifted into Turbo was a grown adult. Always kind of was like, what? Okay. That's why I didn't watch Power Rangers at that point, but I digress. Rachel Zegler as Anne Anthea. I'm not going to lie, I was kind of smitten by her. I just thought she was drop dead gorgeous. Lucy Liu, badass as always. Helen Mirren, badass until she had her face turn at the end when she was starting to die. Because she knew all along what the right thing to do was. She was using nefarious means to get there, though. Whereas um, Lucy Liu's character, Calypso, she was just vicious for vicious sake. I thought the dynamic between Freddie and Anne was adorable. There were just a lot of little things in this movie that really attracted me to it in lieu of the original. And then we can't gloss over Gal Gadot's cameo as Wonder Woman, Diana Prince. I've been a fan of hers since she first emerged onto my screen in Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. I've Granted, I was born in the 70s, so the Wonder Woman TV series was kind of beyond my vision at that point. I was too young for it. Linda Carter looks amazing as Wonder Woman. I need to go back, watch some of those old episodes, see how she did. But for me, when I envision Wonder Woman, I envision Gal Gadot. She has just done such a great job defining that character for me. And that's taking nothing away from Linda Carter. She just wasn't of my era. Like I said, I was too young when that show was on. Maybe if I went back and watched it now, I'd have a slightly different opinion of it. But I also am worried that because Gal Gadot has set such a bar for me, that Linda Carter may disappoint me. You know, it's not like the 80s where I got into Adam West's Batman via reruns at the same time I was getting into Michael Keaton's Batman in the movie theaters. So I was kind of exposed to both of them at the same time, taking them both in simultaneously and able to enjoy and appreciate both of them at that specter. I am rooted in Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman. I'm afraid Linda Carter's is going to come off as corny in comparison. That's really the only reason I can think of why I haven't gone back to watch those episodes yet. But again, I digress. We're not talking about Wonder Woman. We're talking about Shazam, Fury of the Gods. And it saddens me that this movie isn't doing the numbers that it should be doing at the box office. And a lot of that is DC Warner Brothers doing. They've thrown it out there in the media that the Flash movie that comes out later this year, that's it for the DCEU. They're crumpling it up, they're throwing it away. They're probably going to reboot everything, start from scratch. And I'm not a fan of that. And by doing that, by putting that out in the media the way they have, you're basically telling people, hey, these movies don't count. You don't have to come and see it. It's horrible marketing by the studio, in my personal opinion. Yes, the DCEU is inferior to the MCU. I don't think anybody will argue that. But the DCEU is not as bad as people make it out to be. Are there problems? Absolutely. Marvel had a bit of a shaky start too. Iron Man 2, 3, Thor the Dark World. I'm just saying, the Hulk movie, where they completely changed actors by the time we got to Avengers. Even Captain America the First Avenger. I love it personally, but in comparison to the Winter Soldier and Civil War, uh, just saying. I'm just throwing it out there. It's got its issues. We won't even talk about the way people talk about Captain Marvel. Again, I enjoy these movies personally, but a lot of the people out there, the critics, the fans, don't, for reasons. I think the DCEU is a lot better than people give it credit for. And I wish that Flash movie that's coming out, which I keep wanting to call it Flashpoint, but I know that's not the official name. But the Flash movie that's coming out, I wish it wasn't the end and maybe instead use it for a new beginning. But I digress. What did you guys think of Shazam Fury of the Gods? Because for me, when it comes to my rating, I'm going to give Shazam Fury of the Gods 4 out of 5 stars. I thought it was really good. I enjoyed it on a number of levels. And if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend you get out there while it's still in theaters and give it a look, because it hasn't even recouped its budget yet. And it needs to at least make that back, in my opinion. But for those of you that have seen it, what do you think? Let me know. If you're watching the premiere, leave your thoughts and comments over here. If you're watching on demand later in the day, leave your thoughts and comments down here. And let's have that conversation, that discussion, that debate, that interaction that I'm always asking you guys for in the comments below. And don't forget to tune in later on this evening, right here on the Casa D18 Studios channel, the Jeff Meacham Network, and across the Jeff Meacham Network multiverse of media as we engage once again in our Saturday night shenanigans that are Open Mic Night. Myself, Simple Man Noah Foster, will be joined by special panelists Big Baller G and Statboy Mike in order to discuss the news of the week in professional wrestling. And if you've been following the news this past week, you know there's a lot to talk about. And then tomorrow, right back here on the Casa D18 Studios channel, it'll be time once again to step into the War Zone, the weekly acquisition report, the show where I, the Renegade, show you, the viewers, the latest additions to my ever-growing movie library. Tomorrow, just a hodgepodge of stuff. You don't want to miss out on any of that content right here on the Casa D18 Studios channel, on the Jeff Meacham Network, across the Jeff Meacham Network multiverse of media. Open Mic Night later on tonight, Warzone tomorrow, like 3 more weeks of movies that star musicians coming up here on the Casa D18 Studios channel. So much more good stuff in store. You don't want to miss out. So make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure that notification bell is turned on so you don't miss out anytime a video drops right here on the Casa D18 Studios channel or anytime we go live, as is the case with Statboy Sports Bar, Open Mic Night, pay-per-view PLE watch-along coverage, etc. Share these videos with your family, friends, loved ones, coworkers, movie fanatics, cinephiles in your life, fans of DC Comics, fans of Shazam, fans of Zachary Levy, fans of Megan Good, fans of Helen Mirren, fans of Lucy Liu, anybody you can think of that would enjoy this content in this video, share it with them. It's the only way we're going to keep my visibility in YouTube's algorithms now that I am in fact a monetized channel. Thank you once again to everybody out there who joined me, tuned in today, and that helped me get to where I am so that I could be monetized. It means so much more to me than you will ever know, and I will see you guys next time.